silly as this sounds, I felt like my newborn baby was sexually abusing me. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Even though it's like you have to feed them, like you have to, you know, do that for your kid. But it was just, I can't even describe the feeling that I felt from it.
I can't imagine.
Which is kind of sucks, because I have heard from other women who have breastfed that it's an incredible bonding moment. It's a great experience. And I've even seen things before where they say that, you know, babies who are breastfed have a deeper bond with their mom. I don't know if that's true, but that's something I will never know. That's something I will never experience.
So thank you again for being so momist with us and sharing with us. And we have 2 questions that we'd like to ask you to wrap the video up today, okay? So our first question is, was there, well, and you did talk about you definitely talked about some of this probably, but maybe there's something else. Was there anything else that you felt after having your baby that you felt unprepared for?
Unprepared for?
Emotionally,
no.
Physically, anything?
Emotionally, you know what? No, but I would say that I feel like an interesting thing for me was how my insecurities kind of went away when I got pregnant and watching my body grow, because I feel like when I was younger, I was so insecure with myself, not comfortable in my skin. Like, literally wouldn't wear sandals because I hated my feet, wouldn't wear shorts because I hated my legs. But I didn't even feel comfortable using the word sexy before I became pregnant. I felt so beautiful. The bigger that I got, like that was when I truly felt like comfortable in my own skin.
That's awesome.
And then even too, like the short amount of time that I did breastfeed, it did help me lose weight. So I kind of did bounce back a lot quicker. But I felt so amazing in my body, and I feel like not like my insecurities were cured by being pregnant, but I just really felt me tapping into my womanhood.
Empowered. Yeah, you felt empowered.
That is awesome.
Yeah, very, very.
That's amazing.
But that was one thing that I thought, I guess, was pretty cool about being pregnant and you know, the way I felt towards my body afterwards.
That is definitely something you were not prepared for.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So many women don't feel that way.
Yeah, it's usually the opposite. I hear stories about women that, you know, kind of similar to what you said, where they are like, you know, these are tiger stripes, and you know, they go on this whole thing, and I'm like, that is goals. Like I would love to be that woman that looks at my reflection and goes, I've had a baby. I was in labor for X amount of time, and he was 9 pounds and blah, blah, blah. I would love to be that way. I'm not there yet. We're working on it. But it's just one of those things, like I'm so impressed and respectful of women that feel that way, because that's incredible.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess our last thing was, if you had to say, and this can be completely unrelated to anything else that you've said, whatever you think, but if you had one piece of advice or a warning that you wish someone had given to you before you had your daughter, is there anything in your mind that like sticks out of something that, man, maybe if I'd heard that, it might would have changed this, or it might would have made me more prepared for this? Is there anything that you have like that?
Man, I don't feel like at the top of my brain, not really, but one thing that I'm like, I don't
it could be in the middle. It's okay.
I will say that one piece of it, advice or a saying that my dad would say when I was younger that I find myself saying now is, my dad would always say that kids don't come with manuals. You just got to figure that out as you go.
Right.
But definitely that one, because there's times where I feel like I'm a bad mom, but there's times where I'm like, ooh, could I handle this better? Ooh, should I have done that? Or, you know, but definitely that, you know, not to take it seriously, but don't always think that, you know, you're not doing a good job.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can probably think of.
Okay.
Well, that's still sound advice, and it's so true. They don't. The
hospital
tries to give you a manual.
It's useless.
There's some stuff in it that like it's not a manual. It's like suggestions.
Well, and it's just like the same thing as like everything else, right? It's like, oh, it's all different based on the kid. It's like,
It's
then
so
why are we
different.
paying all these doctors all this money? If everything varies from child to
Yeah,
child
yeah.
and it's all quote unquote normal, then like what is happening? But yeah, I like that one a lot. I think we probably all heard our parents say things and we were like, yeah, you know, and you just kind of like dismiss it until you have your
Yeah.
own and you're like, okay, now I get it.
We might still hear our parents say things, and we're like, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah, and you know what too? Like now that I'm even thinking about it, I feel like you kind of mentioned this already. Was I guess take all of those moments from when you were a kid with your parents, those disappointments, or those times where you really loved it. Like it was a good memory when your parents did this. I feel like a lot of those are teaching moments for my kid.
Yeah.
Like I'm so big on having heart to hearts with her and talks with her about life, about everything, and even she's 8 years old. Our conversations are so crazy sometimes. Like there's times I'm like, I cannot believe you just asked me this, but
Right.
and I'll tell her I'm like, I'm talking to you about this because I wish my parents talked to me about this when I was a kid.
Yep.
And I feel like even too with her, that kind of gets her attention more. You know what I mean? Like, so just using those as teachable moments with your kids.
Yeah.
There's definitely lots of things in my life that, and my husband and I have talked about this. Like there are definitely things in my life that my parents didn't talk to us about.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, every mom, when you have a daughter, you are obligated to have a conversation with them about things that happen to women. Okay, when they become a certain age.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Okay?
yeah. I
All
see
right?
where you're going. Yeah.
Mine never did. And that's nothing against her. I had a great mom. I love my mom, but we never had that conversation. I hid that from her for like an entire year because an entire year because I didn't know how to talk to her. So I talked to my sister-in-law, or
Right.
just
find other outlets.
I found other ways to take care of your monthly visitor as a woman, as an 11, 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I don't think it was that I was embarrassed. It's just that I didn't know how to talk to my mom about those things. We didn't have those kind of conversations until I was engaged and getting married when I was 23.
Wow.
You know? Like, I hope to have those conversations with my daughter, and change that with her. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome that you have real conversations with your daughter. I think that's important. You don't always have to sugarcoat life. They don't need to know how real everything is all the time.
Yeah.
But like they do need to know that things happen. Like when you told her about what happened to you, like it's important for her to know that so that she understands. Number one, because she's old enough to understand, so that she understands those things. She understands some of the dynamics of things that go on in your relationship with her, and to be aware of those things for herself.
Yeah, for herself.
That's definitely not something that's definitely not something that we're taught to be aware of in general, like of these things happening.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that you had to have that conversation with her, but she's going to be a better person, a stronger woman,
more aware too.
And more aware.
Yeah.
Because you did have that real conversation with her.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
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 That's awesome. That I really admire that you have real conversations with her.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's probably one of the things that I feel like probably a lot of moms probably don't do because you're too busy. Sometimes you can't balance the protection and the informative, and you end up doing one or the other too much. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and even too, like I'm so big on that because I remember I was 16 years old the very first time my mom gave me advice on anything.
On anything?
On anything. Like my mom, anything. Yeah, my mom was just not she was not a talker. She didn't really know how we weren't close at all, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's one thing that I do wish that I would have gotten. Sometimes I wonder, would I not have gone through the things that I did go through, in my early adulthood, had my mom been there for me in that sense. So, I'm just trying to do things differently and trying to write, like I was talking about earlier, right certain wrongs with, generational curses and
Sure.
definitely trying to, like I was saying too, she was born, whenever I was pregnant with her, I was depressed.
Right.
I'm very big on energies and spirits and just trying to nurture her. Her nature is not, and my daughter too, people always tell me, she has such a calm spirit. She's so peaceful. She's so special.
That's
and
awesome.
We're definitely trying to put that nurturing into her and seeing where that takes us as far as nurture versus nature.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and I think, and I know you and I have talked about this before, but even I don't want to say less serious because it's not that they're less serious, they're just different. But we've even had conversations about how we were not taught body positivity or to be happy with who you are as a person. So I'm not really sure why, but for some reason I actually never had any confidence issues. But because I never had it and I wasn't raised with that type of body positivity was not instilled in me. It wasn't something we talked about. I wasn't told to love who I am, none of those types of things. I still, even now, I struggle really hard with the way that my body changed after I had a baby. And that just kind of is why part of the other reason why I get I'm so happy and proud of the moms that own their marks and who are yeah, and so, it's it, and I love that. But I think that I don't know for sure that it would have changed because society kind of tells us we're supposed to look and act a certain way. But I do feel when you have a daughter and you are a mom, that you have to make sure that your daughter knows that it's okay to love who she is and the way that she looks. And I think that confidence with boys, not to say that it's not you don't have to teach them those things, but it's just a little bit different. And I think that, one of the things Rick has said before about raising Oliver is, he wasn't raised in confidence. So he was very a pushover, very passive, was scared of his own shadow. He had no confidence in who he was as a person. And he told me, he said, I don't want our son to grow up that way. And I'm like, well, he won't if we don't raise him that way,
Right.
But it's just one of those same conversations where it's a lot of moms don't do that. So then when they go out in the real world, or God forbid they gain 10 pounds, they hate themselves and they want to throw up after every meal because they don't realize that that really doesn't matter,
Right.
So, and that's just something I know we've talked about recently that I feel is another lesson that we take from our parents. It's the goal is to always get better.
The goal is always to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's you talked about that you went through depression while you were depressed while you were pregnant, but you also gained confidence in your body while you're pregnant, which is
crazy awesome.
Yeah. Crazy awesome. Yeah, absolutely. That both of those things happened at the same time. For me, it's a long story, but my mom definitely didn't teach body confidence. I remember being on diets when I was younger. I was always the fat kid. Always. My whole life, I've always been the fat kid. Literally called the fat kid. And I went through all kinds of emotions and personality changes because I was the fat kid and I didn't want to be that and I didn't know how to not be. But number one, your bodies are built certain ways and there's only so much that you can change about them, right? And then when I got pregnant, there was a lot that went on and I had lost a lot of weight because I had to in order to get pregnant. And then I was okay until my clothes didn't fit anymore. And that was a struggle. I loved that I was so happy that I was pregnant and we were growing a life and that I could wear form-fitting maternity wear. Okay. Most of my pregnancy, I wore that. I didn't want to wear anything loose because I didn't want anybody to think that I was fat. I wanted them to know that I was pregnant. And then when she was born, it all went away in 2 or 3 weeks. And now it's all come back. So now I'm at my when she was born, I'm at the same weight I was when she was born. But now she's not there. But I don't think I'm in the same place mentally about it that I was when I was pregnant or before. I feel different. Like over that course of 21 months, 2 years, because it happened before that. Over the course of that 2 years, I have found body positivity for myself.
That's hard.
It's super hard.
Super hard.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Yep.
But I did feel like I did discover, like, while I was pregnant, that feeling beautiful feelings. It took me a minute. Definitely took me a minute to get there. But like in that process of being pregnant is when I started to find that body positivity, because even losing the weight before, I was still so insecure. Mike would have to remind me all the time that I wasn't like that. There was nothing bad happening. That, I didn't need the reminder that I had lost weight, but I kind of did, to make me mentally be in a good place about who I was. Like, you usually think you lose weight, you're losing weight, and you're like proud of yourself. Nope.
Yeah.
I didn't have that, which is weird. But through pregnancy is where I found body confidence, which is interesting.
But that's amazing. That's what I think. That's what having a baby should do. It should make you feel empowered, like Erika said. I think it's one of those things. I think I had my first time. So I actually didn't show until I was almost 6 months, and I actually lost weight because they're like little tapeworms. But when I remember the first time, I mean, when I tell you, I used cocoa butter, bio oil, I used every lotion and oil I could find to prevent stretch marks because I knew that I was prone to them. And as soon as I started showing, I had these huge, horrible looking red marks all over my stomach, and I instantly hated everything. And again, I never struggled with like self-confidence before. So this was a very big first for me. And I remember, and I'll keep this story short. The short version of the story is that Rick and I went to dinner one night, and I was complaining about him, all that, he's been listening to me complain about him the whole time I'm pregnant. And then we go to dinner, I'm still pregnant, and I'm talking about how I have this friend that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with her, but she couldn't even sit in a bathtub with a bath bomb because she hated her body so much that she couldn't sit in the tub. So like, I remember telling him this, and I was like, I wish women had more body positivity in themselves. And he just looked at me and he was like, Angel, he was like, that's the same thing as what you are experiencing right now. He's like, you're always down on yourself about your stretch marks, and you keep making all these comments about it. He said, but you're doing the same thing that you don't want other women doing. He said, so don't do it. He said, the stretch marks, they come because you are growing our son. And he was like, and that's a beautiful thing. And that makes them beautiful. And I looked at him very me-like, and I said, oh, just shut up. Because we don't like when they're the what do you call it?
Reasonable
like the reasonable one. I'm like, just eat your food. But he's right. I mean, he's right. I became a bit of a hypocrite because I'm body positivity, and I'm like, hate my body. It's like, but anyway, but. It does. But yeah, I guess we're about ready to wrap up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Did you have anything else that you wanted to share? Like, tell us.
Final thoughts.
Tell the world. Final thoughts.
No, I think that was about it.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for sharing with us,
seriously,
Erika.
It means a lot to both of us.
It does.
It really does.
Of course. And thanks for considering me too and thinking of me. This was actually pretty cool to be a part of.
Good. Well, we'll call on you for other things.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thanks, Erika.
All right. You're welcome. Y'all have a good night.
You too. Bye.
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 We've known Erika for,
2013.
So
6 years.
6 years.
Almost 6 years.
Almost 6 years.
Yep.
And I didn't know any of that about her. She's, for people who don't know Erika, she is one of the funniest, most, I guess.
She's also this tall. Okay.
She
is. And
she is.
She's so funny.
Super funny.
Love her.
But I feel like, even when we worked with her and if we had, I don't know. I've always thought she was a very, very strong person. I just didn't know that some of it was because of that. I honestly didn't know.
No.
But I think that, I think it brings up really interesting things that like I said before, I really would have never thought about that.
I wouldn't have either. I definitely know people who have been in some sort of an abusive or a relationship. I definitely know people who have been abusive mentally or physically, but I don't know that I know anybody. I don't know that I'm really good friends with anybody who has been in a molestation situation and had it affect their life. Like, it makes so much sense that it would.
Yeah.
And it's just not something that we are sensitive to, and we should be. Like, we don't know. Like, one of the biggest things of like changing your daughter's diaper or your son's diaper, they're your child. You have to take care of them. There should never be any kind of reason that you feel like you're doing something wrong when you're not. Like, you're just changing their diaper, and it's very what's the word I'm looking for? It's sad that anybody ever has to feel that way.
Yeah.
And
whether through personal experience
Yeah.
or just like, I don't know why I feel
Stigma
that way or think that
situation.
way. I think it's just, I know people. There are people in my family that have gone through things like that from
Yeah.
friends of family or a stranger or whatever. And I don't think that not necessarily impacted the way that I think about changing the diaper. I don't know. I just all of a sudden was like really weird about it. And I don't think I'm as bad now. Now I'm just like, can you just please sit still for a minute? Because he's so mobile. But
Can you not take it off until it's time?
Yes.
Okay.
Pete, put your hands up above your head. Yeah. So boys, you're gonna do that the rest of your life. But for right now, can you keep your hands up?
But
yeah, I think I think that first of all, her being comfortable being open about something like that for this is amazing too. I think that shows her strength and her growth with it.
Yes, absolutely. She is such a strong person.
Yeah.
Like, you're having a bad day and she sees you're having a bad day, it's gone. Like,
Really?
she can just look at you, give you a look, smile at you, and just brightens your day. Like, legitimately. I remember days like that when we worked together back in the restaurant life.
Yeah. She's super contagious. And I think it's interesting because, I can't remember if we ever saw her with her daughter in the restaurant or if we had just seen videos. I can't remember. Did she ever come in? I don't remember.
I think there was a few times that they came in that her husband now, boyfriend back then, that he brought her in.
Yeah, and I think that there's something to be said when you can see a mom interacting with their child and even without knowing them, feel what they feel for their child. And I think that that's something that's always been evident in her, even when she was
love and adoration,
even when her daughter was younger. But
yeah,
I think I definitely have a very different level of awareness now. I never thought about that. I know women are hard on other women about not breastfeeding, but it just is kind of like you just never know.
You don't. You absolutely have no idea. And it's not directly related, but I remember seeing a post of this lady. She had breast cancer and had a double mastectomy. Well, in the hospital, they're very breastfeeding forward, which is great. She hung a sign above her bed that said, "Cancer survivor, only bottles here." And it was actually this poem that she'd written.
Wow.
And it was cool that, the way that she had done it. But as a society, we should be sensitive to every situation that you don't know. And she shouldn't have to tell people, I had a double mastectomy, I cannot breastfeed. Erika doesn't have to explain to anybody why she didn't breastfeed. Right. It's none of their business.
It really doesn't matter the
None of their
reason.
business.
It doesn't matter. And it's like, fed is best, right? So
fed is best, no matter how it happens.
Because and the person that I was talking about earlier that went into this postpartum situation, she tried so hard to breastfeed because she felt she had to the point where the doctor had to demand that she stop trying because her son was losing weight.
Right.
And it's not because she was not giving him the things he needed. She was just so convinced that that's what she was supposed to do. And she felt like she didn't have anybody that she could talk to about it, and just felt like she was just in this bottomless pit of depression because she couldn't do the things she thought she was supposed to do. And so her moving forward with a second child and not wanting to do it, totally understand.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are people, even in the hospital staff, that asked her and were like, oh, okay, like had an opinion about it.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. I feel like I learned a lot from that, actually. Yeah. I never really thought about anything like that, or how it would affect something so simple, something so ordinary. So
definitely wouldn't have thought about it either.
Yeah.
But thank you again to Erika, and we hope if there is anybody out there who has been in any level of situation like Erika's, that you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that there's nothing wrong with you, okay? You are a great mom, and you're doing exactly what you need to do. And Momestly, that's all that we can do as moms. And you're not alone. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like down below. And if you feel like this is a channel you'd like to be a part of, make sure you hit subscribe. And also, to make sure you get a notification, hit that bell so it will notify you as soon as we post. Also, our social medias are linked down below, and we hope to see you in the next video.